Okay, so I was asked if I would do it all over again. Should I have had the chance, or would I do things differently? And I think that, you know, I've made mistakes like everybody else. I've made mistakes in business, in personal relationships. I've made mistakes in learning, right? Like, I think who hasn't? And I think ultimately everything that's happened in my life has led me to where I am today. And while there's definitely some areas where if I would have known what I've known today, I would have probably acted on differently or been more mature at different times, I still feel that based on my experiences, I've been able to kind of get as far as I could have, knowing the baseline I started with. So, you know, a lot of people start with having a lot of people in their family that are mentors to them, that are business savvy and so on and so forth. And for me, I've only had nothing but my observations to kind of guide me through the years. And I feel that based on what I had available to me, I've really come very far compared to, I would say, people who have also, you know, kind of tried to take a stab at the same thing I have. So when you think about, you know, what would I do different, or would I do it all over again? I would absolutely do it all over again. I mean, my corporate career taught me a lot about leadership. It taught me a lot about myself, what I was made of, what I was willing to do, what I was willing not to do, and what I became really passionate about, which was people. And then, you know, through my business life with VIP Motoring and Secret Consulting, I learned a lot about, you know, the demand of kind of pleasing a clientele, right? And understanding the laws of service and understanding the way kind of business functions, like in the completely different ownership that comes with taking someone's money versus when you work for someone, you're paid by them, right? To uphold like a minimum level of expectation. But here, you know, owning your own business teaches you not only that grind and going out there and closing the sale, but also makes you a lot more conscious of the business, of the decisions you make on a day-to-day basis. And then finally, taking a stab at entrepreneurship, you know, with Secret Entourage, writing books, and so on and so forth. That by itself was such a huge learning experience for me that I've learned more in the past 5 years of my life than I have, you know, in the first like 15 of my business life. So I really feel that, you know, without the entrepreneurship experience, I really wouldn't be where I am today mentally. And that's not just to say, you know, that I wouldn't have made as much money. As a matter of fact, I would have probably made more money if I wouldn't have taken a stab at entrepreneurship. Now, I would have made more money in a different sense. I would have made more money doing what I did best, but I don't think it would have had residual, consistent value outside of taking money you make and reinvesting it and so on and so forth. But with entrepreneurship, I'm kind of growing something that's highly bigger than myself. And I think that is something a lot of people miss the picture on. You know, they take on entrepreneurship too early. And because of that, they're not able to actually focus their mind and effort on the idea itself, and instead focus on the money. And without having had that business experience that I had, you know, opening two businesses that succeeded, then it would have been very difficult to turn back and actually go into this entrepreneur mode and kind of like struggle on a day-to-day basis to convert it into a monetary, like something that would benefit me monetarily. And since, you know, for me, Secret Entourage has no residual effect monetarily, it's more of the idea behind what we're trying to accomplish and the way we're overturning the ability for people who don't have access to education to have street smart education, you know, with third circle theory and some of these other tools we have at the Secret Academy. Then, you know, that really gives me the fulfillment I've always been looking for, and that's substantially more important to me than having an extra zero in my bank account or anything else, because, you know, I live very comfortably, I'm very happy, I've accomplished what most couldn't in terms of, I mean, from a very young age, I've had the cars most dreamed of, I've lived in the houses I've wanted, I've lived in the states I wanted, and now I'm, you know, semi-retired in Boca Raton. The weather's beautiful, the people are beautiful, I enjoyed the time here a lot more than in my, you know, corporate time in DC. And so I'm here because I want to, not because I have to. And I think that's the big difference. And as long as I can live how I want to, not how I have to, then I'm satisfied with that level of income that enables me that freedom. But on top of that, I want you to really, you know, pay attention to the idea that taking on entrepreneurship very early, which I didn't, I took on business early on, was a huge part of why I became very successful. So, you know, everything has its steps, and as much as, you know, I've learned a lot through the years, I certainly wouldn't change anything about what I've done. I would do it all over again the same exact way. So the next question I received was if there are any suggestions in creating an entourage. And I think that's a very fair question, and it's a very common issue among a lot of people.